Hey guys, Omni Rider here, back at you with another video. So for this video, we're gonna talk about actually two things. Number one, we're gonna talk about ceramic coating your car or trailer, truck, whatever. And we're gonna talk about number two, why I chose the GTI among its competitors or other cars that I was originally looking at. So first things first, I just wanted to give a shout out to Bob Moses Ceramic Coating. These guys, I can't say good enough things about them. They did a fantastic job at ceramic coating the GTI. I mean, would you guys believe me if I told you that this guy hasn't been washed for 2 weeks? I admittedly have been pretty lazy, and that was one of the reasons why I decided to ceramic coat my GTI. Ceramic coating, I'm gonna bust a myth real quick. It does not mean when you apply it on your car, it doesn't mean you will never have to wash your car. I don't know how that myth started. Ceramic coating just makes washing your car incredibly easy. Like for example, for those of you that absolutely hate tree sap or bird poop, if it lays on your car, on the clear coat in particular, for quite some time, how many of you could agree with me or can relate? It takes quite a bit of time to wipe it off with a damp or soapy towel. But with ceramic coating, you don't have to scrape at all. Like I kid you not, I literally could put on some foam, soapy foam, onto a damp towel and just wipe the problem area, and like magic, it's just gone. And it's just makes cleaning so much easier, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to ceramic coat the GTI as opposed to wrapping it. And for those of you that followed my channel early on, I used to have my Camaro wrapped in a cement gray kind of color, and wrapping was just a hell of a lot of maintenance that I didn't expect. It started bubbling in areas that I didn't want it to bubble, so on and so forth. But anyways, ceramic coating is also dirt cheap. I'm not gonna disclose the price that they charged me, but trust me, when compared to a wrap, it's like quite a bit cheaper. But again, it's comparing apples to oranges. They serve different purposes. And I'm gonna bust another myth real quick about ceramic coats. So they will not protect your car from rock chips, period. Like on the front bumper and on the hood, I already have a couple tiny rock chips. If you want to protect, so I've seen the best combination possible from a lot of forums. If you want to protect your car from basically the environment, oh dang, that's a loud car over there. Anyways, sorry about that. Most people tend to clear wrap or clear braid their front bumper and hood, and then they ceramic coat the rest of their car. That's like the best absolute combo, and it's gonna make your car look sexy as hell for the longest time. But anyhow, I'm gonna leave a link to Bob Moses Ceramic Coating down in the description below. Those guys were fantastic. And also, I gotta rep this real quick. I'm not sponsored by these guys in any way, but I've been told that Sencha Japan makes some of the best soaps for ceramic coating, and the ceramic coating that's actually on the GTI right now is the brand called Sencha Japan. And supposedly it lasts, get this, 8 years. Most ceramic coats last typically 2 to 3 years, so we'll see how long it'll last. I'm gonna do an update at some point on the ceramic coat in the coming years. But anyhow, let's get on to why I chose the GTI over its competitors. So if you all watched my previous video about why I traded my Camaro SS for a GTI, many of you wanted to know what other cars I looked at prior to purchasing the GTI. The answer is, I looked at a lot of cars in person and online, but I'll just narrow it down to a top few. As a reminder from the previous video, the main reason I gave up the Camaro SS was that I needed something more practical and financially less burdensome. So many of you wondered naturally why I didn't just get a used car. Logically and financially speaking, that would have made the most sense, seeing as I would have completely avoided the steep depreciation curve of owning a brand new car. And that's an excellent point. I did look at the following used cars in person. I looked at a S14 Nissan 240SX, I looked at a 2013 Mustang Boss 302, I looked at several C6 Corvette Grand Sports, I looked at 2004 through 2007 Super WRX STIs in person, and I looked at a handful of 2015 through 2016 BMW M235i's. So why didn't I go through with buying a used car? The short answer: they were all abused in some way. So I have this weird thing about wanting to be the first owner on any sporty car, because in my mind, I'd like to think that I treat my car better than anyone else. Like, I'd like to baby the crap out of my big boy toys. Within the first month of ownership, the car would have probably gone through some sort of body protection, i.e. wrapping or ceramic coating. I would have a proper break-in period for my cars. I follow maintenance schedules to a T. The list goes on. However, I've seen how other folks treat their cars, particularly their sportier cars, and I'm not surprised when I saw all those cars in person that there was major issues or there were future problems waiting to happen. For example, for all the older Japanese legends that I saw, it was goddamn impossible to find one that was even remotely stock. I mean, they were modified all up to high hell, and the near stock ones were a tad too expensive for me to justify paying upwards 15 to 20,000, especially for a car that was well over a decade old with tens of thousands of miles on the odometer. At that point, I'd rather just get a new car with a warranty. So having said all those things, for those of you who did end up buying a used car and or thinking about it, I'd still highly recommend it. For many folks, a lightly used car is the way to go. Hell, I bought my girlfriend's used 2016 Ford Focus because there's only so much abuse that a sedan or a family SUV or a minivan for the matter could take from previous owners. Plus, many brand new cars lose around 25 to 40% of their value within the first 2 years. For me, I am well aware that sports cars usually take a lot of abuse, especially if it was a lease. For the longest time, earlier this year, late last year, I was looking at used C7 Stingrays, and nearly all of the 2014 or 2015 models were trashed. Whether it was the interior, the suspension, cracked exhaust, chipped paint everywhere, it was sad to see the condition that some of those Corvettes were in. I just value my sporty cars a little too much and would rather take the steep depreciation than deal with the future headaches and heartaches. Now that used cars were out of the picture, I strictly looked for new, practical, sporty cars. Namely, I looked at the Focus STs and RSs, the Civic SIs and Type Rs, and the Hyundai Veloster Turbos or N. Right off the bat, I couldn't find any good deals on a new Focus RS or Civic Type R, so that immediately ruled both those cars out. Plus, buying those would financially set me back, so it didn't make any sense after giving it some thought. Then I briefly looked at the Civic Si and seriously thought about giving that crazy green color a go. However, the new generation of Civic Si's didn't seem as capable as the previous generations, so that kind of ruled that out. And of course, the Hyundai Veloster Turbos were pretty cool, but I couldn't get over the rear. It just looked like Hyundai, or Hyundai as some of you British folks call it, gave the Veloster a handsome front, but then said, screw it, I'm off to lunch. The derriere just looked saggy. As for the Veloster N, none were for sale near me at the time of purchasing my GTI, so sadly I didn't give it a chance. So then finally we're left with really just the Focus ST and the GTI. I test drove both actually at the Santan dealerships. Shout out to both of them as well. They were fantastic hosts to me. Personally, I really enjoyed the so-called quote raw driving experience that the ST. It very much reminded me of the aggressiveness that American sporty cars typically have. I felt at home driving it, having owned a Mustang and Camaro previously. Plus, I came so close to actually owning and dailying a manual. But nonetheless, I thought about other people that would drive my car in the future. i.e. my parents, girlfriend, and friends, and I couldn't justify a manual. So that was the big win for the GTI. The fact that it came with the dual clutch transmission option, a DSG option, made the GTI the more desirable car. I know. Kill me, right? How could I betray you guys again? I mean, an automatic? How dare you, Omni Rider? You call yourself a car guy? Get the f out of her! But frankly speaking, manual cars are inherently selfish, at least in the States. And I know the word selfish often has a negative connotation, but there's nothing wrong with being selfish. After all, it's your car, right? Still, I couldn't be selfish about my car. That's what my bikes are for. So I test drove the GTI right after the ST and was thoroughly impressed with the DSG and the fact that it was green? Sold. I've been wanting a green car literally for my entire life. I don't give a flying rat's ass about what other people think about the color. To me, it looks so damn bizarre that I fell in love with it. So there you have it. I ended up getting a GTI. To my surprise and really ignorance, I found out that the GTI has some of the richest heritage of all the hatchbacks, and the aftermarket support, my god. I had no idea the potential that the EA AAA engine would have. Engineering Explained does a fantastic job explaining the awesomeness of the 2-liter turbocharged 4-banger, and I'm excited to start modding the GTI within the coming years. Alrighty guys, that wraps up this video. I hope I answered some of your pressing questions. Thanks so much for watching. Happy holidays. Please stay tuned, and until next time, peace out.